Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday afternoon, July 2nd, getting ready for the 4th of July holiday. And nothing better than a little bit of tequila to start that celebration. I'm sure many of you are probably going to start probably this afternoon. I'm not sure if Friday's actually a holiday. It probably is for many. For some of us, we'll continue to work. Katie, welcome to Drink Up Podcast. So
Thanks.
great to have you, man. We talked a few weeks ago and we're finally here, which is amazing.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Sam.
Yeah, yeah. If I could just before we get started, I have just a couple call outs of some folks we always call out. And for some reason I did not have my water. Sorry, Jay, but we have Freebird Water as our unofficial sponsor. We call them out every week and we'll continue to do so. But Jay's on quite a journey. He's opened up North America, started out in Georgia, now he's Florida, he's Walmart, seems to be everywhere. And it actually is the song Freebird, believe it or not. He has the rights to that to use that on his label, which is blows my mind that we have a product called Freebird that he utilizes. So, Jay, thank you for your continued sponsorship. Bev Assets with Alicia Vargo. Thank you, Alicia Vargo. Bev Assets helps brands, go to market. If you need a distributor or customers, that's certainly what you do with Bev Assets, do the commercial strategy, which informs a route to market and go to market plans. And then my co-host, Adam Smith, which he seems to always like not show up on these weekday podcasts. So, Katie, you get to miss but Adam, but hopefully you can catch him on the next round because you'll be forever alumni. So, thank you, Adam, Alish Advising. If you think about anything that would go into a can. He's operations. He worked for BevSource, so cans, lids, formulators, co-packers. He's an expert in that space. And then Rocks Advising with Ryan Helleman, who's a community of professionals. Ryan specializes in logistics and has some expertise there. So if you think about where you move your product from point A to point B, and several other people are involved in that community. But enough about that. The niceties of those things, all those freebies I give all those people. Let's get into the business of tequila. But more importantly, Katie, maybe talk a little bit about you and how you got in the business of tequila and the business of drinks. We'd be interested to kind of share your story a little bit, and then we can talk about your great brand.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, so I have been in the hospitality industry since I was in college. I grew up on the East Coast in Massachusetts. I went to school in Hartford, Connecticut. Studied musical theater, actually, was my major. And then I moved to New York City right after school and got a job serving tables and was like, pounding the pavement, trying to find that big break into Broadway. And I got burnt out. I got tired of it. I didn't want to do the grind. I just wasn't clicking. So I packed everything up and I moved to California. That was almost 15 years ago. And I have been here ever since. And I dove deeper into hospitality here. I'm not into film and television. I had no desire to do that Hollywood thing. So I jumped full into
Well, a lot
hospitality.
of people in that business are in hospitality, right? It's survival. So they're
Yeah.
probably servers, beverage directors. They probably didn't put food on the table. I remember going out to Los Angeles and I lived out there. You'd run into people and they're like all like the actresses and actors that are serving you your food,
Yeah.
trying to get started, right? Which I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's what you were doing too to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Exactly the same. It was like, theater doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately, not for everybody. So it started as a survival job for sure. And then I was rec I was working at this really cool spot in LA at the Old Farmers Market, like over on Fairfax and 3rd. And they had this spot, it was called Short Order. It was a burger spot, and they had an incredible bar program. And I was just a server. I had no bartending experience, but I was really curious and I learned a lot as a server. I realized how much I could drive check averages up and make people like happy, have these storytelling moments at my tables that would just make me more money. And so I fell absolutely in love with spirits. And there was this guy there. His name's Julian Cox. He's an icon in the industry, especially in California, but he has been around the whole country, lending his talents and education. And he reached out to me, saw that I really liked it, and we I went into his class. So I went into his bartending class. It was like really intense.
So
It
you're
was
you're like a master mixologist then. I'm thinking when you're talking bartending, I'm thinking like the movie Cocktails. Have you seen that with Tom Cruise?
with all the flair.
Were you out there flipping bottles and stuff
No,
and
I wish.
and and dancing on the bar, making
I
things
have
happen?
I have definitely had a job where I danced on a bar. Yes, that is part of my resume back in New York, though.
So
Um,
Coyote Ugly, that movie is real. It probably really
it is.
happened.
Yes, it is real. It's a real restaurant. It's a real bar.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I was like doing this really intense, what you would call mixology, I suppose, but it was a cocktail and spirits education course. It was for 7 weeks. It was 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, from
Right.
10 to 1. I would go in, and it was like a class of probably we started with like 60 people, and if you didn't get your test, like we had a test every day on like 5 cocktails or the category
Oh,
of
so
spirits.
there's like a knockout round here. I'm hearing,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So if you failed the test, like you really couldn't come back because it meant that you weren't serious. Like you could
Wow.
get things wrong on it, but you couldn't completely fail. And
Wow.
then we had a midterm in the middle where we had learned like 96 different cocktail recipes with their builds, their garnishes, the glassware, the history, like everything. And we had to write them all out. It was like, honestly, I
So
loved it.
the 60 people that started the class, you
Huh.
obviously after midterms, how many were left?
I think we cut through half, and then
Wow.
we
So
ended
a
up.
50% turnover. And at the end, how many were left?
There was about 20 of us at the end.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a great certification. It says a lot about who you are. And then you took that and you did what with it?
So I started bartending in LA, and it was wonderful. I worked at this spot called The Nice Guy, which is a like Rolodex only celebrity, hotspot that they opened in 2014. And it was just like my regulars were Dave Chappelle, like Drake was always in there, Justin Bieber, like the
Like you're
Kardashians.
mixing drinks up for Dave Chappelle and Drake and Justin Bieber. You're just like yucking it up with these guys as you're making drinks.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle was my favorite regular, hands down. He was the best. He
Amazing.
would come in at night. Like we would be just closing the bar, like 2 o'clock, right? Last call,
Yeah.
we did that. And in walks Dave smoking a cigarette. And we're like, "Hey, Dave." He's like, "I know I'm late." And he'll just come back behind the bar. And we were like, "You can't smoke your cigarette in here, sir." And he would be like, "All right, I'm just going to get behind the bar and make drinks then." And so he would stay there until like 4 or 5 in the morning. There's no windows, no doors, no nothing. You can't see inside. And we would just hang out. And he was a great tipper.
Amazing. So he would get back behind there, mixing it up with you in a
Yeah.
whole bit. So
Yeah.
you're doing this thing. So you take this class, you go from wanting to be on Broadway, this budding actress, right?
Yeah.
You move across the country to Los Angeles. You take this 7-week course. You land in this bar. So take us from some that journey to like
To
now. Like
tequila.
okay, so
Yeah.
what happened between now from Tequila, which we'll get into? But I'm curious how you got here from the bar.
Sure. So I started applying for like brand rep jobs, right? So like Jameson needed somebody, or it was like Absolute was really big that year. And so I
Yeah.
kept applying for all these different jobs, and I was like getting a lot of no's because I had no experience. And then something came to me that was through Sazerac, and it was this role. It was called the Bond and Royal. It's like a portfolio manager, or I think they called it a spirit specialist at the time.
Oh,
And
so
it was,
you worked for Sazerac before this. Okay, so this is the okay. The
yeah.
great okay, interesting, okay.
So I got that role with Bond and Royal, and I was there for about 4 years within that role. And it was awesome. Like we sold incredible brands. It's like Buffalo Trace, it's Siete Leguas, it's Linea Aquavits, it's,
Were
Pisco's
you
and
travel
all.
were you in an area? Were you traveling all over the country? Like, what was the role?
I was just Los Angeles, so I was LA market. And I
Just
had
Los Angeles. How many people in Los Angeles? Like 20 million people or
10
something? I
million,
mean,
yeah, 10 million of us. So, yeah, I covered LA and a little bit of like all of Southern California. So,
okay,
it was really fun. And then I got the opportunity to work directly for Buffalo Trace Distillery as their national brand ambassador.
right. Well,
And
so how did you jump? So I want to go back a little bit. I want to
yeah,
just because I think this is important for people in the community
yeah,
here to because there's so many paths to what you're doing, right? Because now you're this like global person that you're doing with Trumba and stuff. But it's interesting. So when you were in Los Angeles, what was your like a day in a life? I'm just curious. And then I want to go to the next row, Buffalo Trace. Were you
sure.
going into like restaurants, talking to mixologists about the product? Like, what did that look like? Were you trying to get them to serve your product, get it on a menu? What was happening?
Yes, all of the above. It was the KPIs, or like the goals that we had were very much menu oriented, so we can get the volume, if you could get well placements, things like that. And so a day in the life would really be me hitting the streets. Like, I was the feet on the streets, had my 12 bottle bag of any kind of alcohol you could imagine, and like really interesting stories, and the portfolio is just so beautiful that Bond and Royal team has. And
So
so
you
I would
just
go.
arrived in these accounts like, "Hey, I'm Katie, and drink my shit." Like, like, how did, like, when you walk into like one of these establishments, Beverly Hills, or cool places, how did you get their attention? What was your thing? I'm just really curious. Like,
So my
what was your success rate? How many people? How many no's did you face? And how did you get them to talk to you?
Yeah, so my network played a huge role in opening up a lot of doors. So having
Yeah,
that camaraderie, those 20 bartenders that I went through that class with
yeah.
are now running programs, and they're the buyers and they're the decision makers for these outlets. And so I have these long-standing friendships, and we have these bonds, we're friends, and we would help each other out, right? And so we
It's a
would
pretty
find a
tight
way.
community, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it's insanely, yeah, tight knit. Yeah. We all know each other, basically.
that's funny.
So
Are you
that
part
was
of the
how I
United
got my
States? Are
foot in the
you
door.
part of the United States Bartender Guild?
Yep, absolutely. I was on the board, actually during the pandemic,
Okay.
during all that. So I've been very close with USBG, and that's another way for like young reps who are a little bit more green to get those doors opened, is to go to those networking events like USBG. What if they have like seminars, education for other brands, whatever? Just like, the more you're present and the more you show up to the community, the more they'll open doors for you. And
It's
that's
like the Toastmakers of, the beverage alcohol industry, just to share and learn. It's a nice community.
yeah.
We love those guys. We support them in a big way. So great shout out. So that gave you a path
Mhm.
to Buffalo Trace. Did you do the same thing at Buffalo Trace? Did your territory expand, or you just focus on bourbons?
Yeah, my life drastically changed when I took that role. So you were asking, like, have I gotten any no's? Well, I went to Sazerac. I love agave portfolio. So and the agave that they had in and that portfolio at the time was just incredible. Casa Sematias, Siete Leguas, Del Maguey was in there when I first started, and then they launched other mezcal. I was like, agave is where I love to be. Why don't you guys why don't you create a role for an agave ambassador for your portfolio, someone that can speak specifically to the tequila program? And they
Yeah.
were like, no, no, we don't think that that's, necessary.
Katie, they're
But
probably trying to box you into being Irish, right? It's like,
they were
"Hey,
like, no, no
take an
tequila here.
Irish portfolio." Like, "No, no, I want agave."
Yes,
So
yeah.
I'm just joking, by the way, I'm having fun.
I love it. No, it's very true. Irish and Mexico or the Irish and the Mexicans are very interrelated. So it's like we're
There
like
you
the
go.
same people. We're like
So you're
cousins.
on the Buffalo Trace train now.
Yeah. So they were like, you know what, but we do want someone like that for our bourbon portfolio. Would you
Yeah.
be interested in that? And absolutely. So I threw my name in the hat. I got the job. It was awesome. It was a national role representing that distillery, just like Buffalo Trace and 1792. So the bourbons of Sazerac.
Wow, this is an amazing journey. So from actress to a class to bartending to Los Angeles, now you're national.
Yep, exactly.
And you did
So
this in a short period of time. This is in what period of time? 4 or 5 years?
it was probably, I started, I moved to Los Angeles in 2011, and then left behind the bar like 2017. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been about like 8 years or so.
Wow.
Um, which is,
Oh, you
yeah.
just didn't graduate from school and get the big national job. You didn't walk right into. You had to
I had
earn
to
your
prove
stripes to
myself.
get
Yeah,
there.
I had to prove myself, and I had to convince a lot of people along the way that they could trust me, and they could, I could do the job, and it was awesome. It was like such a great, just personal brand building, experience through all of that. So
It's
yeah,
amazing.
it was so cool. I got to drink some of the best bourbons. Like, I got to go to Cayman Islands and go to the Cayman Cookout and pour OFC. Like, who gets to do those kind of things? These extremely rare experiences. So I am so thankful for everything that the bourbon world
We
had.
get to do that in the drinks industry, though, don't we? We get to have that experience, which is
We are very
amazing.
fortunate. Yeah, it's really cool. So I loved my time at Buffalo Trace. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And but I always wanted to be in tequila. I really, really, really wanted to be in the agave world. I go to Guadalajara often. I
Right.
really am in love with the culture and, the community of the agave world, both people who produce it, who sell it, and who drink it. It's just a really positive environment to be in, and I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to work with Trumba, and I've been with them for just over 2 years.
So we should kind of go back here. So we're at Buffalo Trace. So when did the transition to Trumba happen?
I moved over in, the first quarter of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And how
pretty
did that happen again? If I missed it and I wasn't paying attention, I
Oh, no,
apologize.
the way that the program was going at Buffalo Trace, they are wanted to invest more in bringing out, like, their heavy hitters, so to speak, your master blender, your master distillers, you know people who are actually touching it, so they took the program and put it into their hands, so now they're the ones that go on these adventures and go out into the world
You
and
know,
share.
but I think they missed the mark because you said at the very beginning is that the community is so tight. Those people, the 60 that end up being 20, and those people are now writing beverage programs. Who are they going to talk to, you or them?
Me.
Exactly.
They're my friends
Who
still.
do they trust? The boots on the ground. So that's their miss, but it's Trumpa's gain. So
Yeah,
now
yeah.
the
So now
star of the show,
we're
the
with the
star of the
star.
show.
Yeah, this is an incredible 100% agave additive free tequila. This is our current label. We are moving towards something that's a little more legible because I'm sure you're like, "Can't really see that," which would be this big bottle.
Yeah. Well, she taught everybody like you were telling me like you're showing me this. So I'm thinking like this Friday delivery last week, I'm gonna get the big bottle. And she sent me this, and then I got some little sample bottles here, which we'll taste, which is fine. I'm being already greedy. I'm already asking for more and the whole bit,
Yeah.
but I'm
No,
really
so
excited.
it's really cool. The name Tromba, it is a, kinda like a Jalisco agavero slang for rainstorm. So these big, heavy rainstorms that come in the late summer months up in the mountains and the highlands, they just take over the land, and it's like, it's just loud and
Is
life-changing
it a
and give.
single estate? Is it a single estate agave?
No, we work with one family of agaveros and their farmers and their humidors, but they're
Okay.
all from all different areas within the mountainside.
I love that, and I love the mountainside here on the back here. You can
Beautiful.
see that. It was just, I don't know if it does it justice on the camera here, but you can see it.
It's really beautiful artwork, yeah, that's from a local Guadalajara artist.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not gonna open this one, so I'm gonna taste
okay.
should we so we'll talk a little bit about the brand. So the brand was established when?
2009, was when it first had, like, a name, and it was actually founded by, some gentlemen from different places who all found themselves in Guadalajara at the same time. So we have 2 Australians, a Canadian, and 2 Mexicans that took together and launched Tromba. And so they're the founders
Sounds like a
of
beginning of a joke, by the way.
it does. They walk into a distillery. Well, and the point behind it was they really wanted to make an authentic 100% agave and bring it back to where they came from. So
Right.
to Canada and to Australia. Those were the first 2 markets that Tromba opened up in. And then it launched in the United States in 2014. And it's predominantly an on-premise or bar and restaurant brand. That's how it was initially built. And so a lot of people haven't really had eyes on it. So we're slowly growing, and I think that this large bottle will help people look at it a little bit more and hopefully enjoy it at home as well as in bars. So it's been it's been around for a while. It's not a brand new brand, even though you haven't heard of it. So it's got its pedigree, it's artisanal, um, and it's absolutely delicious. It's
So
just
so
delicious.
you arrived in 2024. So from 2009 to 2024, I'm sure you know the history of the brand development, right? So I'm curious because we talked to a lot of brands. And, we talked to a lot of tequila brands, vodka, bourbon, gin, THC, functional, you name it. And everybody arrives here to talk to my partners, and their brands are kind of 5 different stages. There's foundation, there's build. Sorry about that. Build, growth, scale, and sustain. Right. So, can you talk a little bit about the between what happened to them from 9 to 2024? Because you guys are like with one of the biggest wholesalers in North America. I believe you said you were with Breakthrough Beverage Group
Yep. Every state's a little different, but they're our largest partner nationally, yes.
nationally. So you're with Breakthrough, which congratulations to you. I spent
Thank
10
you.
years with Breakthrough. I have a high respect. to the Marinoff and Wertz family. Forever grateful of my 10 years I got to spend there myself. So hats off to you to be with Breakthrough. But I don't think you got to Breakthrough in 2009.
No, the brand came through Park Street originally, right? So it was something Park Street Imports is something that's very helpful for a new brand to the United States. And it definitely, gets you in the door. Yeah.
That's a path, right? You got like
Yeah.
MHW, Park Street, ASC. Those are great avenues for a new brand to come
Mhm.
into market. And how long were they with, do you know the history of how long they were with Park Street and how they made that
I'm
turn?
I'm not 100% positive the exact timeline to be honest. However, I when I was working at Sazerac in that sales job for Bond and Royal,
Yeah.
I we were so we're you know we have this beautiful portfolio I just was telling you about, and they were like, we're gonna bring in a new tequila into your portfolio, and that was Tromba. So Tromba changed importers from Park Street to Sazerac,
Ah,
and
okay.
it landed in my book. So it was very much like at the end of that sales job that I was introduced to Tromba, and then we had the pandemic. So I didn't get a lot of hands-on selling of Tromba at the time, but it was I would say they probably joined the team, like, in 2018, 19, over at Sazerac. So now that's the
Got it.
importer.
So there was basically 9 years of heavy lifting of a
Oh,
lot of
absolutely. Dude, these guys, so Jimmy Sherry, he's an incredible human being. He's, one of the Australian founders, and he would go around the United States. He moved to the US, invested himself into the US, took a backpack around to bars in Chicago and in LA, down into Texas, and he, like, pounded the pavement himself as the founder. And to this day, I mean, he was just in LA last week, and everybody was, like, so excited to see him. He carries so much dignity for the brand to this day, even though he moved back to Melbourne and he's kind of passed the US sales force over to us.
yeah.
But he's just like he went hard.
I
Yeah,
love that story because we talked to so many brands. We were talking to a little brand, it's a brother. I didn't talk to his other brother, but it's 2 brothers, brand called 1738, and they have they come from, like, coffee royalty or something. Their family founded this coffee in El Salvador, but they have this little brand. It's like a coffee liqueur, right? And, he's like, "Yep, my wife and I, we got into 10 accounts." Or 10 totals and we're 4 accounts. But it's exactly like everybody thinks like everybody just arrived at Breakthrough Beverage Group and
right.
they have a national sales team representing us. Was it Jimmy's name? Jimmy?
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy was that was my brother's name, by the way. But Jimmy's out humping it, right? With his
Yep.
backpack, he's going place to place. And that's what it really takes to build a brand to create that demand because now you have proof of concept, right?
Yeah.
People know this brand. So consumers are finding it. Sazerac's behind it.
Yeah.
You got Breakthrough's attention on it, and so it's different. So getting here, it was great. Hats off to you. So let's talk about you're here, 2024.
Mhm.
So there's Breakthrough, and then there's Sazerac, but then there's you.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Are you like the brand owner? Like Sazerac allows you to come play with them, or how does that work?
Yeah, we we share a little bit of their sales force, not the entirety of it, but a little piece of their craft spirits section. So there's a part of Sazerac that's called 375 Park Avenue Spirits, and
Okay.
they're like a sub. They're fully integrated into Sazerac, but they are kind of a subdivision in a way. So we're part of their portfolio with some other really amazing brands. We have Mizu Sochu that's over there, Kaio whiskey. Siete Leguas actually just moved over there, Glen Farkless, like these really beautiful brands that are agency brands basically for Sazerac. So they're not outrightly owned by Sazerac. This portfolio is like kind of that's what they work on. So we
So like
have
an agent, a lot of agency brands that they represent in the
yeah,
portfolio. I think
exactly.
of the days like I'm not real aging myself, but there was a company called Hubeline, and Hubeline had brands like that. And there was different divisions. There was Hart, Martin, Genesis, a
Yeah.
whole bit, and we had different portfolios that we represented, and we did a lot of that. On the streets, working closely with a wholesaler to go build that business. So that's what Sazerac does with that portfolio that group.
Yes, absolutely. So they are, yeah, they help us with distributor, inventory. They help us with distributor relationships, building those, getting those, in front of them, getting the GSMs or team meetings. they're a really integral part in building that relationship for us as a brand. So we're very thankful to have them.
So are
Super
you
help.
working with the sales force at Sazerac then, and in turn works with Breakthrough, or are you doing both?
I do both.
Okay.
Yeah, I do both. So now it's a very lean team that we have here in Trumbull. We have 4 full-time employees currently, and we have a various amount of different part-time brand ambassadors throughout the US. So that's our personal sales force, right? That's who's really curating the brand and having these and maintaining that relationship with the importer and bringing our accounts, obviously like bringing our accounts to their other
So you have
brands. Like,
the Sazerac sales force, but you also have ambassadors that are part of your team.
yes,
How does that work? Does Sazerac like that, or are they
it's
cool with that, or how does that
yeah,
work?
I mean, I would imagine they enjoy it because it's, added sales on their bottom line, right? If we're out there selling, we have double the people in a market, and we have
Yeah.
like different avenues. I mean, and our brand ambassadors are majority of them are bartenders still like currently bartending. It's a part-time job. Like they're just, they're like they do our activations. They will like, they're not taking this on as a full-time sales role. So
Yeah.
it balances itself out.
I was just curious. This is we've talked to some people about like these ambassadors, right? So, like, what does an ambassador do on your team? What's the day in the life of an ambassador on your team?
So we ask them to really be rooted into the community. Like that's like why we love having them. They're still hands on. Maybe they only have one shift a week behind a bar, but they're going behind the bar every night. They're reporting back consumer trends, what people are drinking, where things are going. They're seeing it, and it's part of their life every day. So we like to see that, and then be engaging to the community. Go to those USBG events. Like be a part of that, see where there's opportunities, like, and they bring a lot of opportunities to me, right? So they'll be like, oh, there's this opportunity for this menu placement program. They're really excited about it, and then I can take the lead, or they can go and close it themselves. It's really,
They're like, so you've hired industry insiders, not ambassadors, as I would think,
yeah,
is
you're
that
right.
these are advocates. So the people you probably required them to take the class. Did they have to take the 7-week class? And if they pass
No,
it, they
no.
become opportunity on your team.
No, but we do have that caliber of people. Absolutely. I mean, the really amazing thing about Tromba is it's incredible quality at a really affordable price point, which gets us into some really incredible 50 best bars across the world, really, but especially in the
You're in
United
the
States.
50 best bars across the world with this
Well,
brand.
not every single
And-
one of them, but we're on, yeah. So
But okay, so affordable. So this is a 750. I'm looking at. This is
that's a
750.
750. Yeah.
It's beautiful, by the way. What's the price? What's a typical price point retail MSRP
So the
for the
MSRP for
vodka?
that is like around 30 to 35 is going to sit
Okay,
for that.
so you're under
Yeah.
$40,
Yep.
which is really good. And are you doing liters for the bars?
We have leaders for the bars, yeah, and those sit in like it depends, it varies state by state, but we still sit in that premium, like, above $20 range for the leader, so we're not, like, super cutting the cost for
So,
to get
so
into some of the other stuff.
you're getting into some bar programs. You're getting into some margaritas, the whole bit. So
Yeah,
your cost per
yeah.
ounce is what on that?
Um, it really it's, like, probably more like I know it on the big one because I sell this, like, every day now. It gets, like, around, like, I would say, like, 80 cents, between 60
Yeah,
and 80 cents.
you're under a buck, so
Yeah,
they'll talk to you. I think when
yeah.
a lot of people, I always ask like the cost per ounce because someone like you who grew up in that side of the business, you're like, yeah, I got a great tequila. What's my cost per ounce? I like $2. I'm like, yeah, you're not in my program.
Right,
you know?
yeah, you still have to I
Yeah.
mean, it's something that is it's really important for, I think, brands to understand that as well when they're going in and pricing their products towards the on trade is remembering that those people also have to hit their margins. And so it's, it definitely helps when you soften that blow on that cocktail pricing.
It's amazing. So are you managing all so you're managing all of North America for Trumba? Is
No, not that big, no. I just manage I really focus on the West Coast of the US. I have a counterpart on the East Coast who's been with the
okay.
brand much longer than me.
Okay.
Um, but
Yeah, you just have the West Coast. Okay. That's a big job.
yeah, but I also like, I'll jump in wherever, because we're such a relationship driven company, and we hire people because we like the people. So like I have friends who live in New York who'll call me and ask me, "Oh, can I use I want to use Trumba in my program." So like, yeah, I'm going to help them out, right? Same thing in Illinois
Yeah.
or in the places like Oklahoma or different places
So
like
yeah,
that.
you
That
got the team selling. So I want to get into some.
exactly.
I'm going to get into some questions. So this is great. This is a great
Okay, cool.
conversation, and so I want to ask you a couple questions I posted this
Cheers, you will. You
afternoon.
asked me
Yeah,
away.
cheers. I'm gonna if you don't mind, I'm gonna
Let's get
open up
thirsty.
the caffetto. Is it the
Oh yeah,
caffetto?
confetto. Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. Here's a little caffetto point my life here.
It's so cute.
All right. I don't think I've had a tequila and coffee.
Yeah, this is the bottle.
Oh, that's beautiful. Cheer oh, salute or
Cheers. Salud.
arriba, abajo, a centro, pa dentro.
Salud.
Oh, wow. Yes. That's actually neat. Warm is fine. I mean, it's
Yeah,
actually what's the best way to have it?
I like it over a large rock, personally. But people will have it over many rocks or in espresso martinis made with tequila since it's already tequila based.
Oh,
It goes really well.
yeah,
Yes.
that is absolutely, amazing. I lost my train of thought, but I got my questions right here.
You're
But,
good. Let's go.
Tromba Caffetto, and you can find this anywhere?
It's not anywhere. I wish if anyone out there is at Bevmo and wants to give me a call, then I'm really happy. But I would say your independent retailers. You can always just look it up online. We do have a lot.
Yeah.
We do a lot of like
Well,
independence
I'm
here.
sure like, Randy over at Bevmo and people that we have a lot of different, retailers. I'm sure they capture this show and we'll republish it. So we're happy to send it over to him and say,
We love
"Hey,
it.
this is a great opportunity." All right. So the building a craft tequila brand in a crowded category. It seems like if you walk the stores, like, the last time we were talking about Benny's earlier, but you go in these stores, there's a sea of tequilas. How do you guys stand out?
Yeah, there is. It's really interesting because the growth of the tequila category in the United States over the past, even 5 years is just astronomical. How many new brands are on the shelves, and how much more interest there is actually in people trying new tequilas. That used to only happen in whiskey. I felt like it was very now it's kind of shifting, and people are taking that mentality into tequila. So there are lots of options, and it is very hard to differentiate yourself. Having conversations with people like you is a super helpful way of spreading the word, right? Um,
Yeah.
but also, this is why we have this 3.75-liter bottle of tequila. So we are first to market in the United States with this, and in the category as well with the 3.75 liter.
I
So
told you when we first talked, it reminded me of my days of selling Colorasi 4 liters,
exactly,
and I
it's
built towers
exactly.
of it. So you should be having towers of that in all Vons,
Yes, I
soon.
agree. So it's really fun. It's a disruptor, right? So when I go into some of these retailers and they're like, "You know what? I don't have room for another 750 because there's so many other brands." I'm like, "But nobody else has this." And they're like, "Okay." Like now you've piqued
Yeah.
my interest, and like it gets me a lot more brand recognition just being something that's disruptive, being something that's different um and
I think in
fun.
today, someone asked me, I was talking to a brand that's gonna come on the podcast, and he's their, like, CFO, and he's like, they're rolling out a new brand in September. So they're trying to get in front of it and whole bit. And he goes, "What do you think about what's going on in the category?" And I said, "Well, people aren't going to stop drinking, but there is a shift. So I think to your point, you got to innovate
Mhm.
and give people a reason, a path or whatever. And that's just fun what you just showed there. It speaks like, I'm having some people over. We used to do back in the day the little like Cuervo margarita balls. You remember those things?
Yes.
And do those things. So kind of I think, but I like the approach. What makes you different?
The tequila itself is just really good. It's incredible. Um,
I
and
can vouch
it's
for that.
affordable. Yeah, and it's
The
really
the
affordable.
the Cafeta will be gone before the episode is complete.
I love
So
that.
it makes you different. Okay.
Yeah, and
Um,
I mean this Cafetto, the production process of this tequila is so I consider myself to be like I would always consider myself to be very proud of the tequilas that I choose to drink and also of course represent. And this is just made in such an artisanal way. It's made like with patience and time and attention to detail and like hands-on craftsmen that you can taste that in the bottle. it's absolutely apparent. And even with this product here, this is insane. This is a basically like a cold brew extraction with still strength tequila. So instead of running water through your cold brew, you're running still strength tequila through these crushed coffee beans. And we actually use the Female Coffee Grower Alliance of Mexico to help us create a custom blend for our coffee and ground freshly on site. And then all we do is add in, after that's done, it takes like 4 days. And then after that, we do agave nectar and a little bit of like botanical, some citrus, like expressions. And
Well, you
it's
did have a I'm now the Cafeto fan. I'm gonna be having Cafeto at every episode, and you might be the unofficial sponsor for tequila on, Drink Up, and I'm gonna be talking about Cafeto every week, and then,
so
Jimmy's gonna be calling me and saying cease and desist. I'm like, "Hey, man, I just love your product." So I'm looking at the NOM,
Mhm,
and, tell me a little bit about NOM 1547, and then
mhm.
can I ask a question? I probably should know this, but I guess I don't. What is DOP? It says dope. Stop.
Yeah, I think that's just like part of this that's part of the Mexico, 'cause are they on I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
It's on the Blanco, but more about the NOM
On all of them. I know
1547.
they're kosher. It's kosher is the K, and then the CRT and the nom, so we have to do some research. You're the first
Oh, so
person to ask.
this is kosher. This is a kosher.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's big. And actually, Benny's in Chicago, by the way, they have a whole kosher section,
Amazing. We get the
there.
big jug there.
Exactly. I remember actually I was talking to someone, I won't say his name, but he might be the buyer of Benny's, one of the buyers. He's like, I was representing another brand there, and it's like late at night, and we're standing in the aisle, and he goes, "If you can like, make your products kosher, you're gonna open up a whole new world." And then I think 5 rabbis like drove went by me in their cart for
I
some
know,
really
yeah, like full cart. They're ready to go.
full cart of stuff. But so can you tell me a little about the
Yeah.
nom? And that's okay if you can't.
Yeah, I can.
But
So it is I've actually been to the distillery multiple times. I am headed back to Guadalajara actually on Saturday, so I'm really excited to go back down there. But this distillery is in the Highlands, so it's like
yeah,
about an hour and a half outside of Guadalajara, away from the town of Tequila in the other direction. And it is small. It's tiny. It does produce other brands. It's a contract distillation for us. We do not own the distillery right out, but we produce a lot out of there. We're one of their larger, they're probably, if not their largest, their second largest brand there. And it's a nice artisanal, there's hornos or the ovens that we use, like that's it. There's no industrial material for cooking of any kind. It's very, very traditional. And then so we have the hornos there, and then the distillery inside is it's so exciting. We use the roller mill as our crusher, and then we have our aging facility is right on site. It's just in the next building down in the cave, basically. And we
yeah,
also have a bottling line there. So everything top to bottom, from the once the pinas arrive after the harvest, is done exactly in that distillery. So we
that's
have really
amazing, amazing. So I was the Cuervo Man of the Year in the '80s.
fantastic.
Just to let you know. So I love hearing the story about Guadalajara and the community, and when I was heading down there, it was a totally different world than it is today,
I'm
and to
sure.
see, like, your brand and you're thriving and what you're doing is tremendous, and, like, it's putting people to work, and because I have an affinity for, tequila and Mexico, and now I'm gonna be a forever fan of your brand. Alright,
Oh,
so growing your distribution without losing your authenticity.
yeah,
Right? So 2009 to 2026, which is hard to believe in another 6 months will be 2027.
crazy, right?
Has Jimmy and team maintained their like, what is your vision for the brand?
So I actually have the great opportunity and like direct line. So I direct report into our CEO, who was one of the founders, the Canadian guy. His name's Eric Brass. He's incredible. I have so much fun, and like I'm learning so much from him, and it's just been like he's still hands on. He's the founder of the brand, and this many
Yeah,
years later, he's absolutely hands on and involved in almost every single conversation. Um, so it's definitely like there's 100% still invested in the brand from start to finish. Now, they started off at, I think this is the third different nom that we actually have, just
okay.
FYI, because when it first started, and you're talking about scaling for bigger distribution, um, when the brand first started, we were at one distillery, and that distillery, we outgrew it, right? Like you
Uh,
just do sometimes. If you're not the priority, you don't own it. You can't dictate your production schedule, etc. So we had to move, and then that continued to happen. So here we are. We're pumping out as much as we can, but it took some of those decisions. And in doing that, you don't want to sacrifice the quality. I think that if you know anything about tequila, you understand the importance of a nom, and you understand the importance of where it's being produced. And there's a lot of variables that can change when you move a brand from one to the other. So we have an extremely talented like chemistry crew basically that works with Tromba, and they have been able to flavor match and really help the brand grow without losing any of its integrity from the original.
Yeah, so quality consistent. I like the fact that, it stands for like rain.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, the whole bit,
Yeah, we use
and
deep we use deep well water for the to proof down, so that's important because it comes from the rains.
yeah. So let's talk. I mean, you can be guarded on your numbers, I guess. But what is your growth rate now in the U.S. of your brand?
We're at this point, I would say we're really excited to see where this 3.75 liter takes us at the end of the year, because we
Okay.
anticipate that and we're actually going to bring a reposado to market as well. So in the same format. So we're really excited to see at the end of the year how much this can push us. I mean, we're going to obviously aim for, as much growth as we can. But it'll be so interesting to see exactly how many, because this is the one case of this is equivalent of 15 liters. So when you're talking 9-liter equivalents, which if you're not in the industry, you don't understand what I'm saying, but like it is so cool because buying a case of this is like buying,
Who's your target for that size? Like, who are you targeting? Is it restaurants? Is it packaged liquor stores? Like,
yeah,
where are
we
you
are.
going with it?
We are basically targeting like cocktail programs that do kegged cocktails, right? That's a really big thing in the industry right now, having a draft cocktail. And the programs like those 50 best bars and places like that utilize that kind of, it's fast, efficient service. So your guest is not waiting 10 minutes for a cocktail,
Yeah.
and it's consistent because you have most of these places have a prep guy, right? That makes the cocktail batches that go in the kegs that then come off the draft.
Right.
So it's those are our big targets. And then the other one, I mean, honestly, in Southern California, we have a very large Mexican population, right? We have a lot of large family gatherings and things of that nature. So last year when we launched this, it was around the holiday season, and everybody was like, that's perfect for my backyard party. That's perfect for this. Like, this is perfect for my Christmas party. And like, I'm having, 75 people are going to be there. And like, all right. So it's like, we're going down both avenues. And we'll see where it lands. I mean, gonna see who ends up tipping the scale more for volume. But right now,
Amazing.
it's on premise is doing really well with it. We're really happy.
So it's amazing. This journey that you've been on, starting out in acting, going out, taking this 7-week course. Congratulations being the 20 standing, the 60 that started,
Thank you.
to, landing into, be bartending and making beverages and being a master mixologist, to your journey at Sazerac, to Buffalo, doing a couple gigs there, and the Buffalo Trace, to Tromba, which is an amazing career. Where do you see the future of tequila and premium spirits? Where do you see things going?
So I think that there is absolutely an attention to what people are consuming now. How you choose to spend your dollars is very important to people, especially in the United States. And I do see more interest in tequila. And I am not getting behind any kind of celebrity brand at all, but the celebrity influence into the category of tequila has opened up so many new minds, right? So many people who maybe would have never touched a bottle of tequila now are digging really deep into the quality of their tequila. So I think the premiumization and or not necessarily premiumization, but quality and value is going to be the most important thing for any brand that wants that longevity in this category, so
Yeah,
that you can be really transparent, you can be very straightforward and clear, have a beautiful product, and then also be able to share it at an affordable price point.
that's
Not
amazing.
not the bottom of the barrel. Right? You don't want to spend $6 on my tequila or $200. I want to be like,
Right, right. All right. So the last few minutes, a couple of things. One is there anything that we didn't cover today about you, about the brand, that you'd want to convey to anybody? Would be great.
yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have shown this large format. I do think that there is a lot of positive innovation coming out of Tromba. Yeah, it's really cool. We actually have I had given you this a sample of the Sedano, which is actually the tequila that chose to have for this
Yeah.
afternoon's tequila.
Yeah.
This is a really cool innovation as well that we're doing. So this is a reposado that starts its life off in American oak bourbon barrels, and then we finish it in French oak. So
Wow.
it has the double barrel like flavor finish to it. It's really unique, and we're even in talks about right now we're using like red French wine oak, but we're talking about some other different opportunities with different kinds of barrels. So this could be something to watch for sure as the Sedano line starts to.
What does 50 stand for on the bottle?
So that's a great question. Sedano, Marco Sedano is founder and owner of the brand and master distiller. So been the master distiller with us since day one, and he celebrated his 50 years in the tequila industry in 2024. So this bottle
Amazing.
was released, and it's an honor. Like it's basically honoring his legacy of tequila making. So really
That
cool.
is amazing. It does come down to stories. How do people find you?
Me or the brand?
Both.
Oh, okay. Um, so I on my socials, my social media, my Instagram is Katy in Jalisco, Katy in Jalisco.
Okay.
Um, I I joke because of that show Emily in Paris, and I wish that someday my life will be based in Guadalajara, and I'll just be Katy in Jalisco. So it's
That could
manifestation.
be a Netflix documentary, by the way.
Let's go. I'm so pumped. Oh, I do have to tell you one more thing before I forget. But then the brand we're Tequila Tromba at Tequila Tromba or tequilatromba.com. And in stores, we are at Total Wines with the big gallon in Texas, California, and Nevada right now, hoping to expand more. As you said, Binny's in the Chicago area. We have Viking Liquor in your neck of the woods that we just opened up. I haven't
That's
been
like
there,
right
but
down. That's like a mile from here, by the way. So I'll go
there
down
you
and take a
go.
picture and text you and do a little survey for you and say, "Yep, it's
Please.
there." I know John, who's the proprietor of the area. They're part of the whole liquor barrel. There's a bunch of liquor barrels, like 14 of them or whatever.
Oh,
But
cool.
John seems to be the ringmaster of the
That's really
group.
cool.
And as Prior Lake, which is we live right on the lake, and you get all that lake business there. So that's perfect for
Uh,
that.
yeah. Just really quickly, I'm sorry, this like blew just I don't know how I didn't tell you this. So I'm going to Guadalajara on Saturday and I'm going for a mission.
Yeah.
We at Trumba have a sustainability component to our brand pillars that is very important to all of us. Um,
Okay.
so during this trip, I will be participating in what we have that we call the Agave Rewilding Project. And it's addressing the overcultivation of blue Weber agave in Jalisco over the past couple years and how it's kind of taken a toll on ecosystems as a whole.
Yeah, they've been
Removing,
taking the younger ones out, right? And because of the way they can
yeah,
manufacture still.
yeah, they've been doing that. They've cleared land of like really important indigenous trees and other kinds of agave that won't make money like the Blue Weber will for them. So
Yeah.
this project goes back. We have a sanctuary at one of our fields, and we're going to be planting all of these different trees this week on Tuesday down there. There'll be about 20 of us going. We're coming from Canada, Australia, and the US, and the Mexico
Oh,
team will be there. And we're all going to have a day of planting these agave as part of this rewilding project. And if anybody wants to get involved, come October, we do our Paloma month, which is basically when we talk really invest in accounts that also have sustainability. And we have a feature of Paloma, and every Paloma that you drink in that month will help go towards funding this project.
that's
So
amazing.
yeah, really fun.
That's amazing. I mean, I think people buy brands based on that. Like, what does the brand stand for, right? Because you exist because of the ability to get that stuff for those agaves. But if you overcultivate, you might not have the opportunity to continue to bring this great product, to
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
which is tremendous. Well, we always ask everybody the most important question here as we wrap up.
Oh boy.
Yeah, everybody gets the same question. So if you've watched our podcast, you would know the answer to the question. Maybe just joking, but everybody has a different answer. Just want to, your journey's incredible, but
Thank
I'm
you.
curious what you think the difference between success and failure is.
I want to say confidence. I think if you are someone who's or a brand or a person who's extremely confident, you can find success even through failure. So it's it's really important to keep that. And I think that sometimes even in this journey that I've gone through, right, where I've had incredible opportunities and moments it's just been awesome. There's times when I doubt myself or something happens and I feel like a failure, but if I don't bring that confidence back, I will never be successful again. So it's really important.
What keeps you confident?
There's a lot of things. I think community is a really big part of it. I try in this day and age not to self-isolate as much as, like, it's able to, right? You don't have to leave
Sure.
your house if you don't want to, especially after the pandemic. We all kind of learned to live on our own, right? So
Yeah.
it's really being active, being out there, being present, and showing up for other people so you can have someone come and show up for you, and that will make you successful as well.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of getting out in the wild.
Yeah.
We all, it's funny where technology's come enables, like, think about it, we're doing like this podcast right now, and the pandemic got us here really quickly and enabled us to do these virtual calls. I remember when there was the lockdown, and I think a couple weeks later we were like trying to communicate, and then somehow we were all trying to think there's this thing called Zoom. Try
Yeah.
this out. Like, people innovated really quick, right? And then people are showing up in their Zoom thing and, dogs are running around, kids are screaming. Now it's like it's accepting. Like I was on a call today and my dog was barking, lose his mind. And I was talking to, a person who wants to come on the podcast actually. And I'm like, hey, give me 5 seconds. I gotta go take care of the dog. It's just like everything's in their web. So there's no hiding anything. But I love the word community.
Mhm.
That's what the Drink Up stands for. That's what we stand for at Bev Assets, and that's what Trumba stands for too. And
Oh,
you, Katy O'Donnell, this has been a great conversation today.
thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. What rings true to me is your journey. I wanted people to hear that because there's so many people that are trying to find a role or they lost a role, and you sharing that is so important that you found a path. You started on this one journey to be an actress, do the Broadway thing, but then you found like your calling,
Yeah.
and you delivered on your promises. You put your head down. You made things happen. And there's so many people, and there's a lot of young people coming out, even older people, all shapes and sizes. But it's like I'm thinking, hey, like if you lost your job, go bartend.
Yeah,
You
show
know,
up. You gotta keep showing up. You gotta keep
yeah.
getting out there because
Yeah. Yeah.
there'll be an opportunity, and you can't get that opportunity if you don't put yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly. I learned that. I mean, it just, and, as a gentleman by the name of Lloyd Sobel, maybe Lloyd will capture this, but Lloyd told me a few years ago, he said, often where you start is not where you'll end,
True.
but you just got to hit go and start. And I thought that was a lot of wisdom coming from Lloyd. For sure. And I really very much appreciated him sharing that. I very much appreciate you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for
Nice
coming
to
on.
meet
Thanks
you.
everybody for
Thanks
coming.
for
Yeah, please remain on the line. I'm going to hit stop and everybody have a happy 4th of July. And
Salute.
I don't even know if we're running live on 4th. I don't think we're running live on the 4th. So I wish everybody till next week. We'll be back at Drink Up after the holiday weekend. See.